Just a disclaimer, this game review contains explicit spoilers. Viewer discretion is advised. If you have not yet played the game and wish to avoid crucial plot reveals, I highly recommend watching this review after completing the game.
Tails Noir is the kind of game that makes you think about it months and weeks after you finished playing. Maybe one of the reasons why is because I think the game ended so abruptly and so quickly that I didn't have the time for all of the plot and all that was happening to sink in. And now it's been months since I've finished playing this game and I'm still thinking about it quite thoroughly. I mean, there are probably reasons why it felt like it was rushed. Nevertheless, we'll just get started. When you look at it, Tails Noir is an interesting approach to the pixelated slash noir genre. The game starts off really great, very interactive. You have the side-scroller type of thing. You're a private detective, like the typical noir setup where you need to discover or you need to solve a crime. We start off with Howard, the protagonist, talking to a new client named Odette. Odette is looking for her husband and she couldn't find him and asks Howard for help. Shortly after, Howard discovers that the body of the husband is inside a bar getting ready to be butchered. So the husband is already dead. At this point, Howard understands that he is going into deep and he's making a choice between pursuing this case or just letting it go. Just as he was about to let it go, he meets the journalist Renee, that actually someone who motivates him to pursue what is really going on and try to untangle what's going on with the bar and of course ultimately with the society where they live in. When you look at the world of Tails Noir, imagine it as like a huge country or a huge city behind walls. So people are forbidden to go outside the walls as they are told that there is no life outside these walls. So you can see the kind of dystopic setup in this game. The story at the start is actually gripping. I was really curious to find out what was gonna happen with Howard or what was gonna happen with untangling all this mess. Because as we all know, the noir genre focuses on politics, government, power play, and crime syndicates. The game really puts itself in like the middle or the epicenter of the chaos that's happening within that society. I want to point out that there are interesting elements within the game. One of those is those dialogues that relate to racism and or hierarchies in society. Howard, being a raccoon in this game, is considered not part of the elite. So Howard, as he would mention later in the game, came from poverty. And so this society is very discriminating and is also very racist. You would meet people who would call you a rack, which is probably a derogatory term for a raccoon, and you would meet people who would like insinuate that their species or another species is better than your species. So it's very accurate to real life. There is also an amount of homelessness in this society wherein you would see homeless people in the parks, goons harassing you. The depiction here is that there's like a really huge gap between the rich and the poor. Another interesting thing is Howard has a book on apes. Eventually, I came to realize that the apes were probably, related to humans because at this point, humans were already extinct. Near the end of the game, when you're able to discover the so-called artifact, you would see a human skull and that the biologist with you would say, oh yeah, these are probably our ancestors. The animals that rule that society, the mighty and the powerful, are the apes. And guess who the apes are eating? When Howard discovers that Odette's husband is gonna get butchered and they're selling the flesh, they're providing that flesh most likely to the elite. And the elite, who are the elite? The apes. One gripe that I have about this is that it all started like a noir, but then it ended up being this philosophical sci-fi genre. A lot of people are probably gonna get disappointed about the ending. It was all very rushed. It's still an interesting game to get into, but there's still a lot to talk about. And yeah, it's just really odd the way it ended. But nevertheless, I still highly recommend this game. With all that's happening in the world, it can be a fairly accurate representation of how we as normal civilians, normal people, and we just want to get on with their lives. And when we discover all of these horrendous things happening behind closed doors, happening in the highest of powers, in the government even, then our whole psyche and what we believe in all just breaks apart. And at the end of the game, Howard, as it may seem, dies at the hands of the so-called artifact. Basically, used Howard's body as a host. Yeah, that's my review of the game. I wanted to unpack it so much, but I feel like I'm just gonna drag on and on and on. I haven't played the prelude, but I heard that the prelude talks about a lot of the things, a lot of Howard's background. It's a great game. There's a lot to think about. There's like a lot of clues, a lot of motif. It's just, for me, it's been great. And with everything that's happening right now, that is like the weirdest thing that you can see. I trust you that you will be able to see some parallels into real life. And so yeah, that's it for me, and I'll see you guys again soon.